It's your boy Breaker Nation Insider. I am back. I am, how do I put this? Not sick anymore. As you can tell, probably by my voice, I sound a lot better. And I've got a good episode for you guys today. But before I get into all the nitty gritty and all the good stuff, you already know what this has come to. Royal Retros. Listen, all your USFL gear, the retro stuff, the remix jerseys that they've done. There's a lot of stuff over there for all sports, but most importantly for your New Orleans Breakers. So head over there, use code USFL Network. You get 10% off at checkout. It's always good. And you know what the other one is. Yes, the USFLnetwork.com. Got a great website. Just head over there and check it out, and you might like it. So with all that out of the way, man, it's been a rough. We're gonna get through this, all right. With all that out of the way, let's get into the good stuff. So last week we had some good stuff to talk about, and this week I've got some more stuff for you guys. Um, I bought a webcam, and it says it's 1080p, whatever that means. So hopefully the um, quality is a little bit better video wise for you guys. I noticed last week's video kind of cut out a little bit and it went black, and I don't. I want to make sure that doesn't happen this time. Okay, promise. I've got an Ethernet cord set up, so hopefully the connection's a little bit better this time. So with all that out of the way, we got some good stuff to talk about. So firstly, I revealed on my Instagram number 1 and 2 on my top 10 players list. So to recap, we had Matt White at 10, Jared Thomas at 9, we had Vontae Diggs at 8, Davin Bellamy at 7, Kyle Sloter at 6, Jay Adams at 5, Sal Cannella at 4, and Jordan Ellis at 3. So we're down to the last two. And at number 2, I had Ike Brown. So Ike Brown allowed one catch all season. One catch all season. And there was points in the season where he was guarding number 1 wide receivers and shutting them down. And not only that, but against Pittsburgh was he had the pick six and another pick, and that was a game where he probably got tested the most. Um, I mean, just incredible corner for us all season, and it paid off for him because he got signed to the Raiders, and he earned that. He played well all season, and I thought that he was worthy of that 2 spot. But I think there's just a guy who is just different, and the fact that he hasn't been signed yet is crazy to me. And it's Jared Fernandez. This guy led the team in tackles. He had multiple sacks, forced fumbles, but this is a guy that you'd have to watch the games to understand what he's doing. I mean, there was times where we needed a turnover, and there was Jared Fernandez to cause a fumble, or it's third down, and we need to get off the field. And there's Jared Fernandez to get a big sack for us, or just to tackle a guy before he gets to the first down marker. And not only that, but just the leadership that he had on the field, the leadership off of the field, the energy that he brought. He was a guy that could step in the room and raise the energy levels. And I mean, I thought that he was the best player on our team, and I thought he was worthy of that number one spot. So, speaking of a guy who's on that list, the Breakers are tied for first in the most guys being signed by the NFL. And um, we had another guy sign. We had the guy sign. As much as Jared Fernandez and other guys like that are really good, we all know that Kyle Sloter is arguably the most well-known player on our team other than maybe Davin Bellamy. Kyle Sloter signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he will be competing for, a spot as their backup because obviously he's not going to start over Trevor Lawrence. We know that. He knows that. But he's competing for a backup spot. And, there's a few guys ahead of him, C.J. Beathard being one of them. But, he's going to be playing in a Hall of Fame game next Thursday on that field that he lost on, which is crazy to think about. For him, a month later, you're in a different league on the same field. I don't know. That's crazy. But regardless, I will say I started a new series on Instagram, and it's just 6 guys that I think can replace Kyle Sloter. But before I get into the couple of guys that I have, I must say this. Just because he got signed and he's on the Jags right now does not mean that there's no way he'll be back next season, because he could easily get beat out, and, they like Beathard more and they want to keep a young guy on the practice squad, so they cut Sloter. If Sloter gets cut, he automatically, his football rights, if I guess you want to call it that, his playing rights automatically go back to the New Orleans Breakers. And not only that, but that's the deal with any player that's been signed to the NFL. If they get cut, their football rights go back to the USFL, which means no extreme football league for them unless they get completely cut from the USFL as well. But just in case he isn't back, I collected a list of 6 guys that I think can take over for him. So right now I've got number 6 and number 5. So I'm going to let you guys in on those 2 on this week's episode. And hopefully by next week's episode, I can have all of them, the other 4 of them, or at least have almost all of them. So at number 6, I have Shea Patterson. Shea Patterson is on our roster. He was the first pick in the USFL quarterback round. He was the first pick technically of the entire draft, however you want to see it. The talent is there, okay? We all know the guy is talented beyond belief. We know that there's a lot that he can do on the field, but there's also things that need to be cut down, right? The hero ball. Don't get me wrong. I think a guy having the ability to be a hero for you as a quarterback can separate a guy from being a championship quarterback and being a game manager. And I also think that there's times where if you play hero ball too much, it can also cost you games and be worse off than a game manager. So he's got to learn how to channel that and realize that he doesn't have to save the team every single play. There's going to be times where he can relax and take what's given to him and take what's there. But beyond that, he wasn't on the team very long. I will say the one thing, I'm not 100% sure if Zach Smith was hurt for the playoff game, but Shea was our backup in that playoff game. So for whatever reason, I don't know if Zach Smith was hurt, but he could have been hurt. But if he wasn't, then they would have picked Shea over him as the backup in that game. But that might mean nothing. I'm not 100% sure. But regardless, the talent's there, and he's on the roster, so he had to be on this list. The other guy that had to be on this list because he's on the roster is Zach Smith. There's a lot to like with Zach Smith. He's not a statue. He's sneakily athletic. Um, he can move a little bit in the pocket, and he makes solid throws. And he's been on our team since day one, so he knows the players, he knows the coaches, he knows the playbook, he knows everything. Right, the cadences, the audibles, whatever you want to know or whatever you need to know, he knows it because he's been there. But there's also been times where he's looked lost, right? Like in the Houston game, the second Houston game. I know we rested some guys and we ran a very, very basic offense, and he wasn't set up greatly. But, I mean, he just looked lost. I mean, there was reads that he made, and I was like, what were you looking at? Like, he was almost seeing ghosts out there. So, he's on the roster, and he's been there and all that stuff, and he's very talented, or else he would not be in this league. He would not be on this team, right? But there's stuff to clean up. Hopefully, if he was given a full off season, where he knew he was the starter, which I hope not, only because I want competition, because I think competition makes the best of people. But regardless, if he knew he was going to start, and the receivers knew that, and he was able to truly run the offense, because there was times in the season where he came in for Slaughter and ran the offense and did pretty well. So I think he's talented, and he should, be given a look at least. I think Shea and Zach will both get a look. And I think if Slaughter's not back, if he does make Jacksonville's roster, say he beats out C.J. Beathard, right? If Slaughter's not back, I do think we will draft a quarterback. I don't know if it'll be in the first round, but I do think we will draft a quarterback, and we will have an open competition. I mean, it's going to be earned. Whoever starts week 1, April, whatever day they choose to start the season on, it was like 17th or 16th this past year. Whatever opening day comes, whenever it comes, I mean, the guy will have earned it. Whether it's Zach, Shea, or some of these other guys I have on my list, or Slaughter if he returns, like, it's going to be earned. And speaking of the draft, got a little bit of news, just a little bit of news. So, my guy James Larson, shout out him. He went back and watched an interview that Bart Andrus did, the Philadelphia Stars coach, and something he picked up was that the league executives, which I don't think Bart would bring this up if that didn't mean coaches as well. I would assume coaches would be a part of this as well. Are going to meet in August to start scouting. Now, this is very vague because we're not sure if that means like scouting what, right? Because like I did the math, okay? There's going to be 692 guys cut from the NFL completely by the end of the preseason, by week 1 of the NFL season. Are they scouting those guys? Or are they like, this kid just graduated from Sam Houston State in FCS and didn't get an NFL look? Are they scouting those guys, or are they scouting the guys that just got cut from the NFL, or both? I would hope both of those will get looks, and they'll pick the best guys. And I'm curious as to how this is all going to work. I mean, as the months go on, I'm sure we'll figure out more stuff. But from what we heard, I'm trying to think exactly where the source was. I want to say Mike Mitchell, but it also could have been USFL News on Twitter. One of the two. One of our guys that we usually get our info from. They said that they project a draft to be early 2023, which I would assume would be either January or February, because I mean, you want if the season starts mid-April and you want camps, hopefully like a month plus before then, like you know what I mean, like so you're looking at March, early to mid March, but hopefully or even before then. We'll just say March, early March for your training camps. Then you need to have a draft before then. These guys got to know like where they're going. They've got to know, they've got to plan, you know, are, are they going to have to go to this Birmingham hub? Are they actually going to have to go to their city? They're going to have to figure that stuff out. And not only that, they need, time to look at the playbooks and things like that. So I would hope that we would get this draft if it is going to be early 2023, which anything it can change, but I would hope that we could get this in January, mid-January. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, and also I'm not 100% sure if I've said this before in a in one of these episodes, so I figured I would bring it up just in case I didn't. And um, in an interview that Skip Holtz, well, regardless, Skip Holtz, the ponies coach, yeah, that guy, he talked about them possibly having OTAs or um, training camps in cities, regardless. Because for as of right now, we know that they're basically between two options of doing 2 hubs or 4 hubs, and we've heard that Fox wants to do 4, but Brian Woods and Moose Johnson want to do the 2. So that's what we've heard. That's the rumors. But they've talked about doing the training camps in all of the cities, which I think would be great. I think that would be wonderful to be able to get these guys, especially for us, right? To excuse me, to be able to get these guys down to New Orleans, excuse me, to practice um, wherever. I mean, practice at Yeoman, practice at the Shrine. They can practice at a high school field downtown. To get these guys down there for training camp, yes, we want the Breakers to play games in New Orleans. We all want that. Everyone wants that, okay? But at the bare minimum, it would be great to at least get training camp down there and be able to get these guys acquainted with with fans that are there in New Orleans. It would be great to get these guys to meet and greet with kids and even the parents of kids and just fans in general, adults, women, men, whoever's down there that's able to come to these practices and hopefully do some charitable events down there too and just grow the brand, hopefully gain followers and gain because New Orleans was in household ratings was top 2 in um, in all the Fox games and all the NBC games. Okay, New Orleans was 2. If we could get even more backing down there, I mean, it would make it very hard for the league to not want to get the team in the city because they know fans will show up. I already believe that the faithful Breaker fans would show up down there to games. So hopefully this does come true. We've got a long time before the season starts. We've got a long time before the draft, before training camps, and even if they have OTAs that are involuntary, how like the NFL does it, they do this stuff earlier in the summer and then they come back like a month later and really hit the field and really train. Even if it's something like that, um, it would be great for them to get down to New Orleans and be able to interact with fans and things like that. But we've got a long time to go, and there's going to be so much more coming. I am working on getting some interviews for you guys with some Breakers players. Okay, so stay tuned. Um, More than likely, you'll see them when you see them, but if I do have an update, I will update you soon. I do know I've got at least 2 players that have already said they would do it, and one of which was an all USFL player. So, hey, I'm just putting that out there. But regardless, I'm working on stuff. At some point, I'd like to do another episode of making waves. I thought that was really fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. So I'm gonna try to work on getting another one of those, in a couple weeks. So yeah, I mean, stay along with this journey. We've got a lot coming as the off season picks up. Guys are getting signed, and as preseason comes around, maybe I'll make more lists of possible guys that could be on the team. But until then, that's all I've got for you guys. Make sure that you subscribe, hit the bell so you can get these notifications. If you're on Facebook, like the page, share this post, please. Let's get these views up. Let's get these subscribers up, the followers up. Um, if you are on Instagram by chance, head over there. I am breakersnation.insider. Follow me. I've got good stuff on there. I've got good content on there. So until next time, Breaker Nation, it's your boy Low signing off.